There we go. That looks a little better for how I've got my shot set up. Thank you, Mr. Officer Gray, for all the things you said to me, for all the good that you have never done. Hey, what's up, Miranda? Hey, don't dox us, by the way. Don't say anything about where I'm from or where you're from. Please and thank you. Just letting you know. I mean, everybody knows I'm from Mississippi, but they don't know what area, you know? Hey, girl, how's your day going? Melanie, dude, I've got some of the best M people around right now. I've got Miranda, I've got Melanie. Look at this. Now, if I can just get Melanie and who's the other one? Oh no, I forgot her name. Oh well. I'm not. Just making sure. You just have to, you have to put that out there anytime you've got someone from IRL checking out your content. Damn it. Get over here, you hair. It's still not in the right place. There we go. Trump needs to chill out. Oh, girl, we will get to it. We will get to it. You don't care for that sweater? Well, I like it. It's comfy. It's nice. It's comfy. I wouldn't do that, boundaries. Well, you would be surprised the shit that comes spilling out of people's mouths. So, forgive my caution, hopefully. Make sure you guys hit that like button, by the way. Every single time you hit that like button, it's another chance to send the stream out to even more people, which increases the quality of your viewing pleasure by increasing the number of people that can engage in the chat. So please do so now if you haven't done so already. I appreciate it. Will my gas prices at least go down now that we have all that sweet Venezuelan oil? No. Your gas prices aren't high now because of like a lack of supply. This is the kind of thing I'm talking about when I tell libertarians that supply and demand doesn't have much to do with the price of goods and services. The price of oil has way more to do with what OPEC wants it to be. It's like there's literally a cartel of mostly state-sponsored enterprises when it comes to the supply of oil that controls it, and they control the price, and we're not a part of that cartel. A lot of people think that the U.S. government, here's the thing, the U.S. government has close-in ties to OPEC, but the U.S. government is not a part of OPEC. That's one of the reasons why it's so fucking corrupt. But don't get it in your head that OPEC is some part of the United States government. No, this is a foreign organization that we allow to dictate the terms of American lives. What's up, everybody? What's up? What's up? What's up? But yeah, no, your gas prices ain't going to go down because OPEC isn't going to want that, dude. And it's mostly going to be OPEC countries that would be capable of processing Venezuelan crude. We've got facilities that can process it for sure, but are our oil companies going to want to cut in on their profits by cutting down their prices because of an increased supply? Or are they just going to want to buy barrels of that crude and warehouse it? And whenever OPEC starts giving them worse rates, they'll just cut into that supply that they've warehoused so that they can keep prices the same or only let them inflate a little bit. Dude, they don't want to lower prices. It happens every so often. Like, yeah, sometimes it happens. There are agreements that kind of make it happen sometimes. But if the oil producing countries of the world don't want us to set our gas prices lower, we're not going. We're not going to. And the oil producing company, or the oil producing countries and the oil companies in America both benefit tremendously from gas prices staying high, or at least not dipping as low as they might if we started processing and refining all that Venezuelan crude right now. It's too much work to hit the like button, especially considering I don't care for the sweater. Well, I'm not going to get naked for you to get your likes, so I'm afraid you're just going to have to deal with it, friend. YouTube really has made it no work at all but to hit the like button. You literally just have to double tap the screen. Or sometimes there's a physical like button, but I think it's pretty much gone now. Okay, but you could sure type. I mean, that's a good point too. I wasn't gonna say it, but that is a good point. Why does shit taste like that? Should we like for no reason? No, you should like because it gets the stream out to more people, which increases the quality of your viewing pleasure by increasing the number of people who can engage in the chat. Ultimately, it's a stream where we're trying to have some kind of chat discussion. You know, we're trying to talk about what's in the news and what's on people's minds. Liking the stream helps more people find it, makes the conversation more interesting by increasing the number of good faith participants. You believe in God? No. Sticking feathers up your butt doesn't make you a chicken? Did somebody suggest that it does? Did somebody suggest that it does? Yeah, I mean, if you're a hater, liking the stream spreads it to more haters. Wee! I'm dying. Those fucking geef bowls are dense. Okay, let's see here. I don't think it's going to start a war. If anything, it's going to bring great prosperity to the people of Venezuela. They really have been suffering greatly at the hands of that guy. I'm not going to sit here and lie to you and tell you that that the Venezuelan people have been just fine under Nicolas Maduro, okay? Obviously, they have not. But America is not well known for bringing compassion, kindness, and prosperity to the countries that we invade. And this is an invasion. I mean, I saw it. I saw it myself, and I streamed it here live. You can check out my stream on that if you want to, and watch me going through the updates as it's happening. I started recording, or started streaming, like 10 minutes after the first bomb started going off. So you can go watch that. It was 100% an invasion. They brought, according to the president and press releases afterwards, they had all, like, basically all 5 branches of the military out there. They had, except the Coast Guard, basically. That's the only branch they didn't have out there, and the Space Force. I forget that there's more branches now. Anyway, point is, they had Air Force, Marines, Army, and Navy assets all over Caracas, all over its airspace, and all throughout the water and the region surrounding it. That was an invasion. And you can't just do something like that, as in kidnap the officially recognized leader of a country and his wife, and leave them with nothing in terms of a governmental structure. Like, we can't just go there, leave smoothly. So this idea that there are no more boots on the ground in Venezuela cannot be true. I'm sorry, I've had military family members. I know people that currently have military family members. There's just no way that's true. Besides that, Donald Trump says that we're going to be running Venezuela until such time as a transition can be completed. How the fuck can we run Venezuela if our military assets aren't there, huh? Especially because when asked who's going to be running Venezuela, he basically said, "Well, I guess you'll just have to look at those two people behind me." And he was talking about Marco Lubrio, if you know what I mean, and Pete Hagsbreath. So he was talking about the Secretary of State and the Secretary of War. How are those two institutions going to rule Venezuela if not through military force? This is an invasion. This is a forever war. Like the stream so more people can fucking get in here and we can talk about it, because this shit deserves to be in front of more American eyes. Like, people need to know that their government is currently engaging in a completely illegal war with a country that we got no beef with. There is no compelling evidence to believe that there is any significant amount of drug traffic coming out of Venezuela into America. In fact, the vast majority of drug traffic that does happen in Venezuela goes to Europe and international customers outside of the United States and Canada, interestingly enough. So it's not like they don't have some drugs running through there. And the Cartel de las Olas, that exists, but it's not like people think cartel and they think the dudes running around in trucks kidnapping Mexicans trying to cross the border and forcing them to pay them a bunch of money before they smuggle them across. They think people, they think about people making meth somewhere in Mexico and shipping it across the border somehow and then distributing it here in the United States. That's the cartel, right? But that's not what a cartel is. I mean, that's just like one manifestation of cartel activity. Like, a cartel can also just be like an organization of parties, like OPEC. OPEC is a cartel, for example. Literally, look it up. It's a cartel. Cartel does not mean illegal criminal organization. Cartel means a grouping of syndicates, I think. I don't actually know what the fucking dictionary definition of cartel is, but I know that it's used to refer to organizations of different member polities which themselves are organized. So like a cartel is like a grouping of street gangs or something, or a grouping of countries all acting in in shared interest. Sorry, couldn't think of the word. Viva Venezuela, the fat man is gone. I understand you guys are celebrating, but one fat man left. The next fat man just came, okay? You need to understand that. Trump ain't skinny either, okay? So the metaphor works. Your Venezuelan fat man, yes, he's gone. But the Brooklyn fat man about to be there now. Or no, the Queens fat man, sorry. Why are you against minorities being freed? Dude, the State Department spin in that comment is just shining. Oh, that is a shining example of State Department spin being proffered up by paid internet trolls. I do not believe that comment was real. I don't think that came from an actual human being. I just had State Department propaganda. Might as well came right out of Marco Rubio's mouth. I could hear him making that point on the fucking debate stage. Burnt, cooked, toasted to a crisp. You don't think my gender is real? You don't think women are real? I don't know that I'd admit that to too many people. These types of people are flecas, talks, bread and butter. Huh? Whatever. Marco is edging to do this to Cuba. Yeah, well, Marco has a fucking... he's got an axe to grind with all of South America, basically. And basically everything south of our borders. He wants to... So I've been meaning to talk about this for a while, and I'm going to be talking about it in a response video that I'm going to be doing to a Vosh video. I'm going to be doing it here soon. I should probably do it today, honestly. But basically, Marco Rubio is an example of a political ideology that has been around for a very long time, and that a lot of people act like it's just gone from American political discourse, but it's not. Marco Rubio is a neoconservative. And Marco Rubio thinks that it is he believes that it is very important for people to believe that America has a unique destiny to fight crime and anti-democratic shit around the world, and he believes it's important for people to see their government enacting that myth. Marco Rubio doesn't personally believe this. Marco Rubio knows on some level that this kind of shit is imperialistic, that it just leads to destruction, that it ultimately is in furtherance of profits and all that. But he is a follower of the teachings of a man named Leo Strauss. And even if he didn't study them directly, somebody that done learned him his politics did. Because the the acolytes of Leo Strauss all are united in sharing this same vision that America and really countries in general need powerful myths to keep them held together and to keep them united as a people, strong as a nation. And one is the myth of religion, God and Christ and all the other accoutrements of Christianity. And the other is the myth of the nation. And the myth of the nation can be built up in a number of ways, but the prominent way that it was built up by neoconservative acolytes and professors who learned under Leo Strauss and later taught his theories at other colleges was that America has a unique destiny for, in our case, right? Because you have to find a unique way for every country to enact that kind of myth of the nation. For America, it was that America's a unique country with a unique destiny to fight evil in the world and to bring about good and the free will and democracy that America is known for. Now, of course, this is a very modern conception in foreign policy. In World War II, we didn't join until after much of Europe had already been conquered because we simply weren't attacked. Most of Europe was under Nazi Germany's sway before we ever entered the conflict. And the reason for that was because, well, we didn't want to intervene. We didn't see ourselves as world police before the theories of Leo Strauss became predominant in our government. Oh, shut up, man. If that's all you have to say, reading your comment is not worth my time. And I think that's the last shut up comment that I'm ever going to address. You're retarded if you think I'm ever going to stop talking for you. If you don't like the content, the very simple answer is to just scroll up. Go find something else to watch. I don't have you chained to the radiator, nor would I want to have you. I believe strongly in the freedom of free association. So go watch something else. But also, there's the very important fact that I don't shut up. Period, bitch. I don't shut up for you. I don't shut up for my dad. I don't shut up for my mom. Not for my sister. Not for an alien if it came down from the clouds. Not for God himself if he appeared before me right now. Sorry, it's not in my nature. I'm too Irish. I will not shut up. I will be heard. If you don't like it, fuck off. Go find something else to watch and enjoy your time there with someone who will try to cater to your tastes a little better. I'm here to make what I like to make. It's okay. You can chain me to the radiator. I might. Just for glitch. What's up, Casey? Amen. Keep being loud, girly. Thank you, Anastasia. I love that name, by the way. That's a really pretty name. I've always loved it. By the way, consider sending a super chat if you want to make sure your comment or question gets read or answered. I do read every single one as long as it doesn't violate TOS. How much do you have to donate for you to do an Irish folk dance? There's no amount of money you could pay that would magically make my fat ass able to do anything like an Irish folk dance. I've got way too many ankle problems and I'm way too fat. I cannot folk dance like an Irishman, I can't do it. But you know what I can do? I can play some Irish folk songs, and for that you would need to donate $10 or more. Praise Allah. Yeah, I think you can just say Allahu Akbar in this chat. I don't think you have to, say it in English if you don't want to. LOL at folk dance. I know, dude. I'm just gonna hop out into fucking tap dancing. Dude, I would bust the floor of this office trailer if I tried to tap dance in this bitch. I would fall right through. I'd have to go outside on the fucking concrete in the patio, and with my 310-pound ass, I'd still be scared. But in the merry month of June, and you know what I mean? I can't, that's not going to work. That's not going to be a good look. They were transporting cocaine? No, they weren't. And if they were, the United States law enforcement agencies have a duty to fucking show that. They have a duty to demonstrate that in court. So many mad haters in chat. I know. They just can't get over it. They hate me because they hate me. It is what it is. What in the actual hell is this? What a fucking useless waste of my time comment that was. Trump did great pulling in this dictator. You just wait until the people of Venezuela start protesting against our rule there, and you're going to be calling them ungrateful, and you're going to be saying we should have left them with Maduro. You guys are going to be so bloodthirsty and cruel when Venezuela inevitably turns on our fucking illegal invasion of their country. It happens every time. For some reason, it's always the revolutionary left that has to be the ones to be correct and correct first. We have to be the ones to tell you guys what's going to happen before it ever plays out, because we're the only ones who actually read fucking history and take it into account when we're making our political prescriptions. So once again, as a member of the revolutionary left, let me tell you about what's going to happen in Venezuela. The people are going to hate us in about 6 months if we're fucking lucky. If we're not lucky, it'll take us longer, and we'll build up a lot of resentment before they really start openly hating us. In about a year or two, we're going to start seeing some terror attacks against U.S. service members. We'll lose around 1,000 to 100,000 U.S. service members over the course of a 10 to 20 year long conflict, prolonged, of course, where we just administration to administration pass on the buck, allowing this dictator to rule Venezuela, and now this military dictator to rule Venezuela, and now this and this and this. And the only consistency throughout the whole affair is going to be the cheap sale of Venezuelan oil and minerals to fucking rich countries that can afford it. That's going to be the story of Venezuela. Just you wait. Sorry, it sucks to be a member of the revolutionary left and be right about this before it happens, but I just know it. I've read too much about it. I've read this fucking case too many times. This is what happened in Iraq. This is what happened in Afghanistan. This is what's happening presently in Ukraine and has been since 2014. This is what happened in Cambodia. This is what happened in Vietnam. This is what happened in Korea, and is still, in some small way, kind of still happening in Korea, if you think about it. This is the story of American attempts to maintain global hegemony. This is the story of it. Guy or girl? Girl. Let me turn on subscribers only mode, because that'll make things just a little bit more readable. Because right now the chat is basically gibberish. Okay, there we go. You are unlikable. You are unlikable as a man or a woman? Okay, cool. That's interesting, because I do have a lot of people that regularly watch, but, you know, it is what it is. I've got a way bigger casual audience, though. I'll admit that. Most of my audience is not regulars. Regulars is only like 2%. Casuals is like 34%. Which means people are watching occasionally. People on the internet don't count. All right. Literally subscribe to tell you you're full of it. Maybe I am. I wish you'd make a better argument than I'm full of it, though. We don't even need to go to war with Venezuela. We already captured the dictator. Are your observational skills shot or something? Are you, like, really going to make the argument that Trump's saying we're going to be there until some transitional leader can be found, and that the Secretary of State and the Secretary of War would be running the country until then? Are you really going to say that that's not a state of war with Venezuela? That's just, okay, you know what? You're right. It's actually worse. We're occupying Venezuela. It's actually worse. You're right. Thank you for pointing out my mistake. You're right. It's actually way worse than just we're at war with Venezuela. At war with Venezuela would imply that they're able to put up a defense, right? It would imply that they're able to do something more than like an insurgency against us. So yeah, we are currently illegally occupying a country that doesn't belong to us, as if we are 18th century British colonialists of the same variety that we broke off from. Yeah, you're right. It's not war. It's occupation. It's colonial occupation under a military dictatorship led by America. You're right. But you need to chill. Do you know how happy the Venezuelan people are right now? Every fucking people that the Americans liberate is happy for the first 6 months. And then they start finding out how little they're going to be paid. And they find out how little of their medical system is going to be taken care of. And they find out just how much their dictator and, sucky as he was, repressive as he was, they find out just how many things they were making sure that they had. And they figure out that America has no plans on ensuring any of that shit. And they turn against us. This, once again, sorry, I'm a member of the revolutionary left. I consider myself to be pretty fucking politically informed, and this is the story of American colonialism attempts. We go there, they love us for as long as it takes them to figure out that we are not the good guys. Just because we're going to let them sing and be gay does not mean that we're going to be good to them. Just because we're going to let them sing and whatever, like, I don't know, like what, literally, I'm not even sure what, like, freedoms are restricted in Venezuela outside of political freedoms. And frankly, that shit is restricted here. I worry every fucking day about getting gaffled up because I'm a loud anti-Trump person. I'm not kidding. I've never worried about that. I've been loudly fucking vociferously anti-fucking presidential and executive power for 10 years now. Never, even during the first Trump administration, did I ever worry about going to jail over something I post here on YouTube or something that I would have posted back then on Facebook. Now, I worry about it every goddamn day. So to act like America is going to bring some kind of new level of political freedom to Venezuela is just kind of silly. Now, if they've got some other kind of restrictions there that I don't know about, if gay marriage is illegal there or something like that, there are civil rights things that America might bring to Venezuela, but people are going to figure out pretty fucking quickly that what they should have done was fought for those civil rights with massive fucking protest, with a coup if they had to. But they should have managed it internally, begging for America, allowing America, helping to manufacture consent for America's illegal invasion of your country is the worst possible thing you could be doing because America is not there to be your friend. I'm telling you as an American, this is not how we treat. That is not how we treat countries that we go into like this. We are going to go in there. We're going to build up your oil infrastructure with our companies in mind. We're going to build up your overall infrastructure with our companies and our people in mind. And if you disbelieve me, just go look up. They said they're not a top priority. What is a top priority? It's not the health and safety of the Venezuelan people. It's not the freedom and autonomy of the Venezuelan people. No. Marco Rubio's statement said that, yeah, we want elections in Venezuela and we care about democracy and all that, but America's top priority is the United States' safety. We don't give a fuck about Venezuela. And the sooner Venezuelans figure that out, like, the better you guys are going to be. We don't. I mean, some of us personally do. Like, I personally do. But my government doesn't. My government, people like Trump, they view you as pay pigs, basically. We already built the pipelines. We're going to put them back in working order. Well, that's what I mean. A lot of the infrastructure that exists in Venezuela right now for getting oil out of the ground is already American infrastructure designed for American companies and American standards. But it needs to be updated and new infrastructure needs to be built. There's also resources that have been discovered in Venezuela in the intervening 20 years since we last invaded that are going to inevitably be exploited over the course of this next invasion. And the people will eventually turn around to hating us just like they did 10 years ago. This is the story of history, and I wish that it wasn't. I wish that it wasn't true. By the way, make sure you guys hit that like button. It really does help. Every single time you hit that like button, it's another chance to send the stream out to even more people, which increases the quality of your viewing pleasure by increasing the number of people who engage in the chat. We didn't break off from colonialism. We broke off from British rule. The idea that the American revolutionists opposed colonialism is odd. Dutch English settlers moved for the practice of Christianity. Well, I know that, and you know that, but there are a lot of average Americans who act like, you know, who act like basically like colonialism is something that we're done with and that, is over in America, but it's not. Like, here's the thing. You seem to be the kind of person who's in support of that. I seem to be, and I'm just not. I'm the kind of person who thinks that that's awful and reprehensible. Okay? I think that it's awful and reprehensible to take over some other country for economic benefit of yourself. I think that that is just not a pro-humanist thing to do. Sorry. I just don't think it's a very humanist thing to do. You support abortion? I mean, I guess, like, I certainly support people's rights to access that care. I don't like how in American political discourse, like, the reality of what abortion is kind of been lost. So, like, yes, I support abortion because I know for a fact that there's no one else, like, there's no one on earth that would ever go through with an abortion if they didn't have to. Literally. Like, the only people who go through abortions are people who fucking fuck up on their birth control, or they're irresponsible with it on a night that they shouldn't be, and they can't afford Plan B, so they go through with some kind of fucking back alley abortion, or they go into an abortion clinic that offers, like cost reduced or free care for low-income people. That happens every so often, but nobody is going through an abortion like for funsies or using it as birth control, which is the only fucking argument I get out of people once you defeat their base moralism, because I don't care about your moralism. I don't care that your Bible says it's wrong. Your Bible says wearing mixed fibers is wrong. I don't give a shit what your Bible says. So once you defeat their baseline moralism argument, and then you like defeat the secular moralism argument, then all you're really left with is the like patriarchal moralism of female sexual irresponsibility, which is like, I mean, there's a number of directions you can approach that from, honestly, but my favorite is just like what I just said. Pragmatically, like, abortions hurt. I'm sorry, they just do. They are painful procedures that leave you aching for days afterwards. Nobody is getting an abortion for birth control. Like, period. Pragmatically. Now, obviously, you could talk about how it is an object of the patriarchy, effectively, to prevent people from taking control over their own bodies, and that ultimately it is a projection of that tendency for people to like slut shame women on the basis of their having gotten too many abortions. Like, there's a whole dynamic there that you can explore, but I don't even really know that you need to get into it, because like the baseline pragmatism of it is just like nobody's doing that. Doesn't make any sense. Rape victims should be allowed access to abortions. Anybody should be allowed access to abortions. But yeah, I mean, obviously, someone that is a victim of SA or something like that should be allowed priority access to abortion care, 100%. But we should also make sure that there's, like, more important even than abortion care, frankly, is good access to Plan B, affordable Plan B. Really good access to birth control is the biggest one, and really good access to really good sex ed. I know I say really good a lot, but that's like, you need high quality shit, and you need to, like, we have settled as Americans for so long that we're about to settle right to the bottom of the ocean. We've been settling for so long that we are at benthic depths right now, and we're about to hit the fucking bottom of the ocean. Okay. We can't handle the amount of settling we've done throughout this country's lifetime, all right? It's time we start swimming. You're 100%. Thank you. Trump is high quality? No, he is not. Even if I was a Republican, I don't think I could stomach fucking Trump. I don't even know how anybody who's on the right wing can do that. Like, even if you're a right winger, like if you're a traditionalist conservative, you care about God, you care about what is it? What are the three F's? Faith, family, and friendship, or some shit like that. Faith, family, and finances. I don't know. Like having grown up around traditional conservatives, I know a little bit of their rhetoric, but I'm not familiar with every fucking aspect. You guys care about that kind of shit if you're a traditional conservative, right? So if you're a tradcon, what do you possibly see in Trump? Trump is not a traditional conservative. Trump was calling himself a liberal as recently as the 80s. He's certainly no, like, Trump is a teetotaler, but he loves people who drink. He loves people who smoke weed. He loves people that are into drugs and on drugs and shit. Trump personally doesn't seem to have an addiction problem, but he certainly surrounds himself with a lot of people who do. Loved the fuck out of Elon Musk there for a while, and Elon Musk is a known drug addict. And I'm not even judging him for that, by the way. I'm not saying that that's like an inherently bad thing. I'm just saying that, like, Donald Trump clearly has no moral judgment for that, and that if you are a traditional conservative, you should. Therefore, you shouldn't like the fact that Trump, hypocritically panders to you, but then hangs out with Kanye West, who's rapped about smoking weed, and hangs out with Elon Musk, who's a known ketamine addict and a known MDMA habit and all this other shit. Like, you should have an objection to that. So he doesn't fit the mold of a traditional conservative. He is not nearly as pro-war, even like, and I'm saying, like, even despite what he's done this year, he is not as pro-war as a true neoconservative president would be. If we had President Marco Rubio right now, this Venezuela shit would have happened back in September, and the drug boat attacks would have happened within the first week of his presidency. This has taken this long for Rubio to finally grease enough wheels for him to get it fucking put through. But if he'd been the president, this shit would have happened way quicker, because Rubio is an actual neocon. Donald Trump is not a neocon. So if you're a neoconservative, you can't like Trump. Francis Fukuyama is a perfect example of a very famous neoconservative who fucking hates Trump. Bush Jr. is one of the most neoconservative presidents of all time, hates Trump. Okay, so you can't really like him if you're a neocon. Okay, you can't really like him if you're a traditional conservative. Really, the only people who can really get behind him and like him are these full of shit political fair weather friends that have no morals, really, no principles, really, as applied to politics and global thinking. Like, they've got no concept of that. They've just got like a vague, kind of shaky, and oftentimes, frankly, very easy to defy, very easy to manipulate, and we're talking about people of shaky moral principle here. Like the MAGA base, the people who can really get behind Trump all the way, are people who don't know what fucking, like, Tuesday, they've forgotten what they were thinking about Monday. Wednesday, they've forgotten about what they were thinking about Tuesday. And Thursday, they might as well be a new person completely from the person they were on Monday. They don't know they don't know which way is up, much less down. We're talking about people without a political center, right? And that like, those people have always been red meat for the conservatives. They've always been like a really good, that's not a good way to put it. They've always been like a, anyway, they've always been like a big audience for the conservatives and shit. They've always been, but like, Democrats pick out of that fucking trough as well. The problem is not that they have some political center that they are just like really dedicated to. That's kind of the fact, like that is actually kind of the problem, is the fact that they don't have that moral center. They don't have that thing that keeps them in any specific place. But the problem is, those people, for the first time in their lives, feel like they've got a politician that represents them. Every politician has made some calls to them. Every politician. Bush Jr. made calls out to that group of people. Mitt Romney made a big call to that group of people, but he said it secretly, which meant everybody thought he was a pussy, right? But there were people that made calls to this kind of tendency, right? this kind of, and I would talk about the Nazi contingent on the right wing, but they're such a small minority that I don't really think they're worth talking about. I think that is probably the smallest minority on the right of the ones we've talked about. But while they kind of have supported Trump for a while, a lot of them have fucking jumped off now at this point. So what we're really talking about is that people, that great morass of people without a political center that believe in his ideas, not because they have strong axioms that they're basing everything that they believe on, but because he says things that they like, you know? He's got the vibes that they kind of like. He says all the things that they've said from their living rooms behind their TVs, you know, for decades now. But he says it loudly, he says it proudly, and he makes excuses for it. And everyone around him does too. And the presence of that great morass of people, the fact that all of them pretty much have come over to Trump, right, means that those traditional conservatives and those neoconservatives that used to be such a prominent, like together, they're more of a majority, right, together than the MAGA base is, right? But they're not united enough to unite against Trump. And they aren't confident enough in their own beliefs. And they're not confident enough in their own ideological direction for them to really challenge that core MAGA base. Which is why the Republican Party has been taken over by a completely amoral group of ghouls that is now, currently cheering on the invasion of a foreign country that everybody would have recognized as wrong and bad 5 years ago. Venezuelan people are celebrating in the streets. Nah, bro, you're cooked. You just have no understanding of American political history, do you? Every time a country gets invaded by my country, the people celebrate at first. It's very common. People love to see the American flag rolling up. What they don't like is to see their children getting abused, to see their wives getting raped, to see their businesses getting shut down and abused, underpaid and underfunded. They don't like to see their health care going by the wayside. They don't like to see all of the things that come with bringing a bunch of unaccountable American fucking subcontractors and contractors and crazy fucking, special security forces, fucking private armies and shit. All the shit that comes with a traditional American sponsored by Halliburton invasion is going to happen to Venezuela. And once it starts happening, everybody's going to be pissed off at us. We're going to be fucking... And all these people, by the way, right now that are saying, oh, you're cooked, bro, you're cooked. They'll all be saying, oh, these ungrateful bastards. How dare they attack our fucking military installation? We freed them from Maduro. Well, you moron, as it turns out, you got to do more, a little bit more, I know, crazy to think, than just destroying their dictator and making off with him and his wife. As it turns out, there's a little bit more involved in nation building than that. Don't worry, most trans don't make it past 35. Neither do most active duty combat people, but we don't shit on them, do we? By the way, if you want to make sure your comment or question gets read or answered, consider sending a super chat. I do read every single one as long as it doesn't violate TOS. Can you sing Old Man by Neil Young? Old man, look at my life. I'm a lot like you are. I can't because I don't know all the words, but I do like that song. I love your guitar and flag in the background. Well, thank you, Spider Lover. I appreciate that. $2 from Spider Lover and a kind comment. That's so fucking nice. Look at that. That's awesome. Literally nobody is talking about that, gang. Stop pulling comments out your ass. Okay. I'm literally just reading off the chat. You're actually a POS for that comment, Phoebe. At least active duty troops did something. You've done nothing, and that why no one will remember your name. Damn. Pissed somebody off. I knew it would. I knew it would. See, like, people, like, everybody's edgy until you say something about vets. Well, I could go even edgier than that, but I'm not anti-Semitic, so. I'm not anti-troop either, but I'm certainly more critical of the military than I am of the very concept that Jews can exist, you know? As a former Marine, I see your tactics. That I'm trying to piss people off with an edgy comment. You don't have to be a former Marine to see that, friend. That's just like being baseline socially aware. Dude, people call this a rage baiting channel all the time, and then I'll do some rage bait, and everybody's like, ah, rage bait! You're not edgy, you cringe. Sometimes cringe is based. Can you rip the vape again? No. Are you filming on your Nintendo DSi? I take it the data connection's not very good. There we go. I'm a tubbalard. Okay, Tyler. Glad I got you mad. You mad. You big mad. Big boy's all mad. Poor little guy. It's okay. I didn't mean to make fun of your friends. I'm sorry. Forever Wars, Caribbean Edition. I know, right? Yeah, we get to see a whole new theater in Battlefield 7. The ones who scream fascist are doing so to quiet down the other's opinion, hypocrites. I don't think I've used the phrase fascist one time in this entire stream, friend. What's okay? Why are you so mad? Why are you so mad? It is only game. Why so mad? What's the issue? The point? Just going to argue with chat? Pretty much. It's pretty much my content strategy, at least on these. Basically, the idea is this. I'm a trans woman. Now, I've been out as trans for 6 years, but once I started streaming, I realized that most people wanted to talk about that more than anything else. And I also realized that YouTube really liked it once I put that pride flag back there. And so I was like, you know what? I'm just going to like start talking about more politics and religion kind of stuff, see where it goes. And so I figured out pretty quickly, right, that as long as I'm engaging with chat actively, having interesting arguments, and regularly reminding people to like, subscribe, and engage with the channel, that my subscriber number would grow, the number of people who would start watching me casually or regularly has grown, and eventually I was able to build up a, little. Right now I've got a pretty tiny audience right now, especially when you consider just like regular viewers and casual viewers. But as far as people who have just like interacted in here a few times and might interact in here again in the future, that number is pretty huge. And as a result, I've been able to like put eyes on some other content that I do every so often. Speaking of which, you guys need to go watch that most recent video I made about 2026. It's got a lot of my thoughts about the last year in there, and I think it's a worthwhile video for your time. I hope you get loads of subs. Well, thank you, Big ERC. If any of you guys like me and you want to help me, the best way you can do that is by watching the videos on my videos tab, if any of them interest your, catch your fancy. You're a man, not a woman. Well, luckily, the random opinion of internet nobodies doesn't actually dictate what gender I am. So I'm going to go on and continue right on living as a woman, as I have the last 6 years. Have you considered that much of Venezuela has celebrated the regime? Oh my God, how many times am I going to have to address the same point? Yes, I know. Plenty of people in Venezuela are celebrating the regime change. You know, like that's not that uncommon when it comes to American invasions. What is not common is for them to be celebrating 2 years from now. Hit me up in 2 years and ask me if they're still celebrating. I'm sorry, my cow is in heat. I don't know if you guys can hear her, but anyway, um, what are your thoughts on neoconservative colloquialism? Huh? Colloquialism. So, neoconservative is a political ideology. Colloquialism is a word meaning like something that people say as shorthand. So, I'm not sure, like, huh? You're going to have to explain what you're asking a little bit more. There will now be a Venezuelan Independence Day. Pretty sure there already was. Pretty sure there already was. You like my guitar? Thanks. For $10 or more, I'll play you guys a song on it. In 2 years, I think I'll still be suffering from the Taco Bell I just ate. Sorry. Doubt I'll be able to get back to you, big homie. Yeah, well, that's why you don't eat Taco Bell. Leave you for a year-long shit. I'm just saying, people have a tendency to not like American invasions after they've happened and the effects of them have been laid bare. After we've gotten a hold of your resources and we've had the opportunity to bring a bunch of Americans in to work these high-paying jobs and abuse the fuck out of the locals with all the low-paying jobs that they don't even know what to expect out of the wages that we could provide, so they don't even know what to ask for if they do organize. Hold on 1 second. I'm going to pull up a song and I'm going to play it for you guys. And I'm going to tell you guys a little story of colonialism in America and abroad. Okay, I had to split screen. Give me just a second. Let some people roll back in. I love how moderators delete anything that tells the truth. Man! Oh man, you hate it that my ass just comes back and streams day after day after day and doesn't give a fuck what your bigoted ass has to say about it, huh? Pisses you right off, doesn't it? Salty. Anyway. Coke came to Colombia seeking lower wages. They got just what they came for, but as we turn the pages, we find the workers do not like the sound of their children's hungry cries. So they said, we'll join the union. They began to organize. So Coke, let me see here. Alrighty. Here it is. So Coke called up a terrorist group called the AUC. They said, we've got some problems down at the factory. So these thugs went to the plant and killed 2 union men. Told the rest, you leave the union or we'll be back again. Now Coke did not complain about this dirty deed. Why give workers higher wages when Coke is all they really need? They phoned the AUC, said thanks, without you we'd go broke. And to show our appreciation, here's 100 cases of Coke. The baby drinks it in his bottle when the water ain't no good. The dog drinks it, but he don't know if he should. Some folks say that it's the nectar of the gods, but Coke is the drink of the death squads. Well, the workers wouldn't take the situation lying down. Some went up to Georgia, said, look what's happened to our town. You American workers get downsized while we just get shot. And those of us who survive, well, our teeth begin to rot. 'Cause the baby drinks it in his bottle when the water is no good. The dog drinks it, but he don't think he should. Some people say that it's the nectar of the gods, but Coke is the drink of the death squads. Well, now that's the situation. What are you gonna do? 'Cause death squads run Colombia and they're paid by me and you. We can let Coke run the world and see what future that will bring. Or we can drink juice and smash the state. Now that's the real thing. 'Cause the baby drinks it in his bottle when the water is no good. The dog drinks it, but he don't know if he should. Some people say that it's the nectar of the gods, but Coke is the drink of the death squads. Yes, Coke is the drink of the death squads. I'm pretty sure if the U.S. applied cocaine to Colombia, it would have been an international crime. You guys act like Colombia, the fucking country itself. Dude, do you know how much fucking illegal shit gets exported out of America to other countries? Do you realize the U.S. is the world's leading producer of cannabis? People think it's still Mexico or Central America. Nuh-uh. No. Mm-mm. No. No. U.S. a big exporter of drugs. We love drugs. We love drugs in this motherfucking place. Are you kidding me? I love American oil and cocaine. At least you're consistent. Sorry, girly pop, I'm gonna leave the chat. These people piss me off. No! No! You can't leave me here with them. By the way, if you want to make sure your comment or question gets read or answered, consider sending a super chat. I do read every single one as long as it doesn't violate TOS. Forever War ended in 2 hours? Then why did Trump say that we're going to be staying there until a transition can be completed to some kind of new power structure? And when asked who's going to be leading it, he cited the Department of War and the Department of State. Great singing voice, by the way. Thank you, Canopy. Yeah, where is that Forever War? You are so retarded. You guys do not see the fucking... You guys are so... Okay, I have to know. Is this like a Trump supporter thing? Or is this like an everybody in America is just brainwashed on this and I'm just going to be part of the minority that sees it until the Venezuelan people get just as pissed off as fucking we are about it. And then everybody else in America will catch up to the fact that this is a bad idea. Can you just tell me, everybody cite your political affiliation? 1, if you're a Republican. 2, if you're a liberal. 3, for the manatee. I need to know, okay? God complex, shocking. You talking about me, Craig Ongen? I do have a God complex, that is true. Well, no, Israel's profiting from this more than the USA. Israel's behind every evil thing in the world. Not really, but Israel has its hand in a lot of fucking pockets, and Israel has back channel communications to a lot of different fucking countries and organizations. So, yeah, but Israel's involvement in this is peripheral. It's because they're deeply involved with our military, not because there's some secret conspiracy or whatever. Where did you get that sweater? It was actually a hand-me-down, Lily. I may not agree with what you were saying, but you are very well spoken. Well, thank you. I like to think that I'm also pretty respectful. I mean, if people are respectful to me, like Miss Jellybean, you were nice. Or Jolly Bean, or Jelly Bean, yeah, okay. You were nice, so I was nice to you, and I would like to think that energy rubs off and translates, but yeah, who knows? I'm a Trump supporter. Great Israel take. Well, there you go. I pissed everybody off with my edgy joke about veterans. You guys, did you guys not get that was a joke? That I was trying to be edgy? Dude, I feel like you can do that shit and it just works too good now. It works too good now. There was a day and age where you could say some edgy shit like that and people would have just rolled their eyes and one person would have been like, you're so clever, aren't you? Or something like that. But nowadays, man, people are sensitive little clitorises about that kind of thing. What happened? You guys make endless jokes about trans people, but I poke a little fun at a veteran, and it's like, oh, geez, oh God, what are you doing? Oh, well, no. But no, when it comes to Israel, what am I gonna say? They're a genocidal maniac of a country that has been allowed to run roughshod over our political system for super long, and they have their hands in a lot of pies, and they've got their, they're deeply involved in a lot of shit, but it's not because there's some secret Jewish conspiracy or something like that. It's because Israel is a country that was founded on a shared premise by two countries that were both incredibly powerful world power. It's a project of the British Empire and the American Empire. Of course, it's got its hand in a lot of pies. It's got nothing to do with the fact that it's ran mostly by Jewish people. Nothing to do with it. Just like America being mostly ran by Christians doesn't mean there's something inherently horrible and greedy and avaricious about Christ. Okay? I like my soldiers like I like my cigars. Shipped to... I'm not going to read that. See, I already pissed people off with my first... I already pissed people off with my first edgy vets joke. I can't do another one. I'll just lose. If I can get mass reported or something. Because people can't handle jokes no more, dude. They have endless jokes for people like me. But it's like, how dare a trans person fight back? It's like, how dare a trans person turn the tables? You can make fun of trans people all you want in America, and there are going to be people that will, they're going to be people that yell back or whatever, but the social favor is it's on the side of the transphobe on some level because it's endorsed by our government, right? Whereas if you're a trans person and you try to insult anything, people are so pissed off about it. People that's why I really do think that's probably a primary driver of my success on here is just being an edgy trans chick and having just being myself pretty much, and that being the reality of myself and people's reaction to it just being way worse than it used to be. When I first came out as trans, and I would say the first 2 years of being trans, I really don't feel like I got much of a... it took a while for America to go through this weird cultural shift back towards a more transphobic direction, I feel like. Maybe that's just my perception, but... Sorry, if you want to be trans, actually lose weight and change that voice. You're not convincing. How much you want to bet that that is a trans girl that doesn't pass talking shit on me? How much you want to bet that that is another trans girl that doesn't pass any more than I do talking shit on me? Because if it was a cis girl, if it was a pretty cis girl, she would have her face as her profile picture. You get so much positive attention online just from doing that alone. If she was a pretty passing trans girl, she would also have her face as her profile picture because that's such a huge flex if you're trans. This is a non-passing trans chick talking shit on a non-passing trans chick that is not afraid of who she is and isn't afraid of making content online like they are. And that's just a beautiful dynamic. Bitch, you do not have to be this hateful. You really don't. You're very strong for dealing with all this shit. I mean, it's just online. You know, I'm not like Christian. I'm not one of these people that has no life outside of this shit. I don't know if you guys have heard the cow bellowing in the background, but you know, like I've got I got other shit in my life, y'all. You know, like I cook, I clean, I play some video games every now and again. I go to the grocery store, I go to parks, I go for walks, you know. Like I will admit I tend to be a pretty solitary person, but I love being amongst people. I tell you what, if I'd been able to go to Buc-ee's with money, I would have loved it because it is an incomprehensible amount of people in one place. But I don't normally like hanging out with other people unless it's somebody I really know. Sometimes it depends, really. If I'm super manic, I will fucking just make a new friend and drag that person around. But you know, not literally. Not literally. That would be bad. I think you come from a good place, but I wish you would be more diligent about looking at all the relevant information available before defaulting to the accepted talking point in the silo. The accepted talking point when it comes to Venezuela is that this is all about drugs and that the Venezuelan people are celebrating and it's going to be great for them and that they lost their dictator. That's the accepted narrative right now. That's the narrative that the media is kowtowing to. That's the narrative that Trump is going with. That's the narrative that pretty much everyone in the American administration is going with. So that is the mainstream narrative. So how can you say I'm just going with the baseline talking points? How can you say I'm just going with the majority accepted thing? Because like what I'm saying, I can think of like 3 creators that are also talking the same shit. Like Kyle Kalinske, TJ Kirk, myself. That's it. I'm sure there are more. I know like Hassan. Okay, there you go. Hassan has been talking about it. I know. Bosch has been talking about it. Okay, there's 5 of us. 5 lefty content creators out there talking about how this is almost certainly. And by the way, each of us has our own pet theory about what it actually is. I don't even know what Hassan's pet theory is. Bosch's pet theory is the government's just gone evil because he's retarded. Literally idiot. Fucking complete moron. Anyway, TJ's theory is, I think, closer to the truth, which is that it's a combination of a desire for oil sovereignty, for like control over their oil, and it's play for mineral rights as well, and also kind of a play for overall domination. And I think my take is pretty much that, but I would take it a step further and say that all that's because of a general tendency in the United States government that we have not managed to vote all the way out yet, that is still infecting the halls of power, that we need to start actively calling out, which is neoconservatism. It's so in line with the neoconservative playbook to invent a reason why this country is bad, invent a reason why you can't trust any of its legal processes, invent a reason why you need to invade, do the invasion, steal their leader, or depose them or whatever, and then set up shop in that country for an indeterminate length of time. This is the neoconservative playbook when it comes to foreign invasions. I also hate Bosch. We heart Hassan. Yeah, I mean, like, I'm not the biggest Hassan fan in the world, but I certainly like his takes usually more than I like Vosh's. Although I will tell you where Vosh really stands out and where I really like to listen. And to this day, I keep up on what Vosh says, because now that I'm a content creator, there's like 7 or 8 different people that I check up on the lefty sphere to see what they're saying, just to keep a general eye on what the discourse is, you know? And Vosh is one of them. And I really like listening to his voice. I really like listening to his presentation style. I like his jokes. He's really funny. But I hate his fucking takes. So I avoid issues where he's talking about shit that I just don't like his annoying ass takes on. I avoid any video where he's talking about weed or anything, because I fucking hate hearing him talk about weed like it's fucking heroin. You know? I can't stand to listen to it. But and you know, I don't like his, you know, wish-washy position on guns. I think that he just needs to like come out with like some kind of cogent defense of exactly what his gun takes are. There's a few other things I could go over, but the thing I was just talking about was fuck, where was I going with that? Fuck, I was going somewhere with that, and now I forgot. Now I've ran out of steam. Now it's flown the coop. I really can't stand him overall, but to each his own. Yeah, no, I just think Vosh is a moron in specific contexts. Like, for example, Vosh does not seem to see, he actively rejects the idea that there is a broader plan going on with this Venezuela shit. And I just think that's stupid. He does not see the fucking obvious continuation of a long tradition of neoconservative activity. Like, he does, but he doesn't seem to recognize that it's part of the same pattern, because he just has it in his head, oh, Trump's too stupid. He doesn't seem to get that what that means is the same thing it meant for Biden, which is that his administration is mostly being ran by people like Stephen Miller and Marco Rubio and Steve Bannon and shit like that. By the way, make sure you send a super chat if you want to make sure your comment or question gets read or answered. I do read every single one, as long as it's by LATOS. I am also completely just a completely like YouTube audience supported channel. So, you know, if you guys are liking this content, the best way you can support it and make sure that it continues to happen for as long as possible is to support with a super chat, a membership, or just simply contributing your like or a share. Why do you people love supporting criminals? I don't know. Why does Trump? Why did he just pardon that big drug trafficker from Argentina? As the people of Venezuela, they're happy. I've made this point about a dozen times in the stream, but I'll make it to you too. People are always happy when when America first invades their country. Populations are always happy. We love to invade a country and set those people up for the opposite of success. And while we are in their country at first, and they realize that they can now say, fuck Maduro out loud, they feel really good about it. It feels really empowering. And I'm sure on some level it is. But then we start underpaying them. We start abusing their workers and their families. We start not funding their healthcare system. We start actively manipulating with other parts of their government and other parts of their system to make it all more equitable to American business interests. And if we have our way, you want to know what happens when you really let America do everything it wants to do to your country? Look at Japan. Look at Japan, where you can just go there as an American and live just fine for a while, you know, like there was such a massive presence of Americans there for so long that they are like our chief trading partner, or one of our closest trading partners at the very least. I don't know if you can use American money at all the shops, but I know that there are shops that accept American money. You know, like, it's very easy to get your money exchanged there. There's a ton of signs that are in both English and Japanese. You want to look at what happens to a country when you let America do what it wants to all the way with your country? I mean, there's about a dozen countries I could point you towards. Like, some of them we incorporated as states. Hawaii did not begin as some like little patch of unclaimed land. There was a whole civilization there. Where's your evidence for that, Cam? Seriously, where's your evidence for that? Where's the evidence that they were smuggling massive amounts of drugs into our country? I thought Mexico was the one smuggling massive amount of drugs into the country. I thought it was Central America. Go fuck yourself, Latacy. Go fuck yourself, bitch. You want to talk shit on me? You're not allowed to unless you put a profile picture of your own face up. And I'm going to call you out if it's not your ugly pig-looking face. Fuck you, bitch. Where's your evidence that this is a new forever war? So, my chief piece of evidence is Donald Trump himself when he said that we would remain in Venezuela until such time as a transitional government can be found. And when asked during that same press conference who would be ruling Venezuela during that time, he pointed to, well, I guess you'll just have to ask the people behind me. They'll be the ones running it. And he was talking about Pete Hegseth and Marco Rubio, or as I like to call them, Marco Lubio and Pete Kegsbreath. He was talking about the Secretary of War and the Secretary of State, the two most militarized institutions in the president's cabinet. Okay, so my second piece of evidence is Marco Rubio's statement during that, or not during that press conference, but during a press conference earlier today, I believe, where he talked about the possibility of elections in Venezuela. He said, yeah, I mean, we want elections. We care about elections. We care about democracy. But our number one priority is the health and safety of the United States. Meaning they are not prioritizing Venezuelan democracy. They are not prioritizing Venezuelan autocracy for autonomy. Sorry. Thank God they're not prioritizing Venezuelan autocracy, but they may yet. You know, like they are not prioritizing Venezuela's well-being in this conflict. Marco Rubio said it himself. So do you disagree with Marco Rubio? I mean, how? On what basis do you know the foreign policy of the United States better than the Secretary of State? I'm sorry, I don't believe you. I don't believe that you have a better line on the policy of the United States Secretary. What is it called? The Department of State. I don't think you have a better fucking line on the State Department than the fucking Secretary of State. Sorry, I don't believe that. When Marco Rubio says that they're not going to leave until there's some transitional government to be had, and that they don't really care about elections. I mean, they do, but it's not their number one priority. I believe him. Why is it that the first time a leftist believes Donald Trump and Marco Rubio, all the fucking right wing wants to deny that they just said, dude, this is a gaslighting operation out of the right wing. Don't believe your lying eyes. Don't believe your lying ears. They didn't just say that. They didn't just do that. That didn't just happen. What are you talking about? Everything's fine. This is gaslighting. This is political gaslighting. Get out of our country? How about you fucking make me, bitch? How about you grab me up in a sack and haul my ass out? My family owns land in this motherfucking country. As long as I got land in this country, I'm gonna stay in this country, bitch. What are you smoking in your vape? I believe this is cherry. No, summer strawberry. Yikes, let's parrot the libs' moronic talking points. The libs' moronic talking points are that this is all about drugs. That's what the libs are saying. The libs, like Hakeem Jeffries, are the ones saying, oh yeah, they're trafficking tons of drugs, and oh yeah, they're horrible, and oh yeah, I mean, we had to do something, but this isn't right, and you should have went to Congress. All the libs care about is that they weren't asked about it first. What I care about is that it happened at all. I don't think that America should be the world police. And I don't think that America presented any fucking evidence that Venezuela is trafficking massive amounts of drugs into the United States. Them saying it is not proof. Not when you're making an accusation of something. Them saying it is proof when it's a matter of policy. Like if you're making the claim the State Department's policy is X, and you can find a quote of the fucking Secretary of State saying that, then okay, that's proof. But if the claim is someone did X, then someone merely saying they did is not proof. Like, do you guys understand the varying levels and like the varying ways that the burden of proof works? Like, is this just something that people have lost along with their ability to functionally read? Go look up the stats. The stats say that most of the fucking drugs that go through Venezuela go to Europe and Africa. That's what the stats say. Go to East Asia, Europe, and Africa. And the stats say that. The stats do not line up with the United States State Department line on why we are invading Venezuela and occupying Venezuela until further notice. There's proof all over the internet. Oh my fucking God. I don't know what to tell you. No, there's not. And even if there was, you should be able to cite some specific instance of proof. You should be able to cite something besides, it's all over out there. It's out there. It's out there. It's out there. It's not proof. People have been so fucking stupefied by the constant news cycle and the difficulty of finding and procuring information and shit like that, that they just don't know how to fucking discern anything anymore. They don't know how to tell that just vaguely gesturing at the amount of proof that there is not in itself an argument. Phoebe, do you think any good will come out of Maduro being gone? I think good could come out of Maduro being gone. Do I think it will? I don't think America's got a very good track record for being involved in projects where that happens. I'll say that much. I'll say it would be an anomaly if something good happened because of the way Maduro went. America's just doesn't, like, we just do not have a very good track record when it comes to going to a foreign country, taking out their leader, installing our own, or allowing them to install a puppet of ours, and ruling over that country from afar. It's just not something we're very good at. We don't tend to leave functional governments in our wake. I really felt that Trump was going to be a move away from neoconservatism, but it looks more and more like I was wrong about that. It's obvious about the oil. Thank you. Thank you. Oh, thank you. Yes, exactly. Fucking finally someone else sees it. I don't feel so fucking insane. Thank you. Oh, God, dude. The political gaslighting is too fucking hardcore. It's about the oil. It's so obvious it's about the oil and mineral rights. It's about the fucking oil and mineral rights, and more broadly, it's about maintaining American hegemony in countries that have governments that are bellicose with ours. It's a continuation of Kissinger-era Straussian neoconservatism. And by the way, it's proof that whatever leftist movement we build, if we do end up building a leftist movement, whatever leftist movement we build needs to not attack, but it needs to approach and try to gain power through more than just the presidency. We need a groundswell of candidates on the state level and local level and the Congress level and everything running too, and replacing some of this old blood and some of this bullshit, because it is not just the fucking president. Because Donald Trump himself, here's the thing, I don't think Trump himself actually is that much of a neoconservative, because I don't think Trump had all that much to do with this operation. If you listen to him at the press conference, that motherfucker seems like he was asleep until like a few hours before the press conference. He seems like he just woke up like 2 hours before it and just like got ready in a hurry and got, put out there and briefed like 20 minutes before it went live. I don't know. Like, it just does not ring of an operation that Trump was well informed about. I don't even think Trump was told until the day after it happened. I don't think he was told until the morning he gave that press conference. I think he was briefed about it as he was waking up. And I think he was probably briefed about it again before he went on that press conference. And that's why his answers were so vague. And that's why he didn't really provide any new information. Like, really, the only people you notice every time he's asked a specific question about a specific policy thing or policy implication or anything like that, he defers to Pete Hegseth or Marco Rubio. This was their project. Are you trans? Yes, I am. Nobody going to explain what Cartel de las Sodas is? What is the relevance to Maduro? So the idea behind Cartel de las Sodas is that there's a cartel of high-powered individuals within the Maduro government that are involved in the illicit drug trade, because there are drugs that pass through Venezuela. They just don't go to America. Most of them. Some of them do. Most of them don't. Anyway, so my understanding is that the cartel does exist, but that it's more or less just an extension of the overall corruption present in the country. And it's not a cartel in the sense of like the Mexican cartel, where there's like a vertical monopoly from production to distribution. It's more like it's a cartel in the sense that it's a bunch of people who are protective of one another, who protect one another from their bad deeds and misdealings, who are all liable to each other on some level, and who kind of facilitate one another's bribery and racketeering schemes and stuff like that they are doing with their adjacency to the government. So it's less a cartel, honestly, and more of a embezzlement circle, really, if you think about it. Let me put it this way. Maduro does not want to live like fucking Pedro Pascal. Or what is his name? Pablo Escobar. Pedro Pascal. Who the fuck was that? Anyway, he does not want to live like Pablo Escobar. Okay? He doesn't want to dig tunnels and live like a rat. He wants to live like a fucking government official. And he wants to do corruption like a government official. And that's what the Cartel de las Solas is, from my understanding. Do they distribute drugs? The answer is yes. Okay, pretty much every country on the planet distributes drugs. Are we going to invade the entire world? Colombia distributes drugs. Cuba distributes drugs. The United States distributes drugs. All kinds of drugs. Do you know more fucking opiates and opioids are produced here for international consumption than anywhere else? We could. I cannot wait for some country to invade us. Like, okay, what is the justification we have for invading every other country on the planet? But why would it not then be justified for any other country to invade us? Wild thing to say. I think it's even more wild to say that we could invade any country on the planet that we wanted to. See, this is what I mean about American supremacy. There are literally tons of Americans, tons of my fellow country people that would be willing to throw the entire rest of the planet overboard as long as America stays safe. And I'm sorry, but I care about other human beings. Like, has there been like a market uptick in sociopathy or something? Like, I'm sorry. I know this is inconceivable to the conservative mind, but I care about Chinese people. I care about Canadians. I care about Mexicans. I care about Americans too. But I don't care about Americans necessarily more because I happen to have been born on the same contiguous piece of land that they were. What the fuck is that? Huh? Not just the same contiguous piece of land either, because we're supposed to hate Canadians and Mexicans. I forgot. You have to be born on the same contiguous piece of land within the same arbitrary lines drawn in the sand. Yeah, if it was about drugs, we would have glassed Mecca half a decade ago. We would have glassed Mexico fucking 30 years ago when they were actually the fucking center of a lot of the drug trafficking coming out. Dude, Central America produces way more drugs than fucking Mexico does at this point. Mexico is just a transit point at this point. I want our side to win and other sides to lose. It's different when we invade because it benefits me when we win. It's like rooting for our country like a football team. It's awesome. No, it's stupid and anti-human. And it's a really bad long-term strategy for your country. Because you know what happened when the Roman Empire got too weak to defend all its territories? All those rebel peoples started taking back over their lands, and they started gutting the imperial dictators and petty rulers that ruled over them from the that had been sent there from the Roman Empire. And then when it was nothing but Italy left under Rome's exact control, the Huns invaded. You know what the Huns did? Look up the burning of Rome. Literally, look up the various burnings of Rome and look at how many different times Germanic tribes invaded Italy to burn Rome to the fucking ground as soon as it was weak enough to be invaded. And Rome at that time had the largest empire ever known. Their empire stretched. Let me put it this way. Rome was the first empire upon which the sun never set. You could see the northern lights in the same empire in which you could harvest dates. Do you think other countries would care about us if the roles were reversed? What do you mean, if the roles were reversed? We are literally close to being a global hegemon. We are pretty much an empire. No, we are the global hegemon, and we are an empire. America's empire is vast, and people just don't see it as such because empire doesn't work the same. God damn. Empire doesn't work the same way it used to, and so people don't see it the same way. Do we live in the same place? I don't know. We have way too much power in this world. No one party should bend the world. I agree. I, for one, agree. Bro doesn't even know what an empire is. Oh, smarmy comment, not explaining anything or explaining why they disagree, just saying, you wrong. You don't know what empire is. Man, that's a high quality comment that I totally should have wasted my life reading. I don't think that was to you. Maybe it wasn't. Anyway, I just think it's funny. I'm going to be, saying the same shit for a while, and then the news will move on. We'll be talking about something else here in a couple weeks, but I'll keep checking back on that Venezuelan situation, and I'll let you know when the first hints. I'll let you know when the first hints come around, because I guarantee you, I would be shocked if it's 2 weeks until we start seeing the first anti-American protests. I would not be shocked if it's 2 weeks. What makes you think that that's going to lower the gas prices, Swiper? Are you really just following the baseline libertarian lie of supply and demand economics? Come on, you know that's not how oil supply works, bro. You know that's not how it works. Why would they do that when they can just dig up a bunch of Venezuelan crude and warehouse it for whenever they do need to refine some more domestically in order to supply our domestic supply with some reduced, like, let's say OPEC raises their prices for barrel, like per barrel price gets raised at some point in the next 2 months. But we've got all this Venezuelan crude that we've warehoused, so we can just start refining that instead of using this other stuff that we're getting from OPEC. We'll just buy less of the OPEC stuff, use more of the Venezuelan stuff, keep gas prices the same. We don't eat into our profits because we got this shit super fucking cheap. We don't have to lower the gas prices any. Like, I know gas prices do get lowered. They're one of the only prices that get lowered, but I've never seen it demonstrated that there is any mechanism that can be affected to make it happen. Okay, I get it. We have a new source of crude oil, but you don't have to fucking dig up and use crude oil. Just because they fucking get the oil production running back up and running and everything, number one, it doesn't mean that they have to use it for domestic oil production. They do not have to use it for domestic petroleum products. They could export it. Okay, so like, with that in mind, what makes you think that? Like, what makes you so certain that gas prices are going to go down here? Do you think we'll actually invade Cuba/Mexico? Up until this point, I didn't think we'd actually attempt to do what is essentially what we did in 2003 again, but now I'm genuinely scared. Do I think we'll invade Mexico? No. They're too close, and Mexico is too developed a country with too many regular state allies. There are, like, Germany has a surprisingly close relationship with Mexico. You wouldn't think so, but Germany and Mexico are very close. So, like, Mexico is looked at by Americans as a third world country, but Mexico is transacted with as a fully developed country because it more or less is. There are problems in Mexico, but there are also European and Eastern European countries that Mexico is more developed than. A lot of the problem in Mexico is honestly um, like there needs to be a little bit of population redistribution, a little bit more people to the rural areas, a little bit less focus on getting so many people to live in the industrial areas. But there's also like some overpopulation problems that could be alleviated with a better immigration policy with the United States. There are problems in Mexico. I'm not saying there aren't, but they're a developed country with an active military and fucking a standing army and shit. We're not going to invade Mexico. Cuba is another story. Now we have success. We have, previously in the past avoided any kind of military, like, direct intervention in Cuba because they have usually been close allies with countries that are nuclear armed. But in this case, I mean, I don't think Cuba has any of those connections to roll into. And I feel like invasion has become so standardized. I feel like we are really approaching what you should be more scared about, Luke, is not necessarily the idea of Cuba or Mexico getting invaded in particular. What you should be scared of is what the recent and worrying trend upwards of invasions means for, like, the implications that that has on global policy, right? And international relationships, because it has become shockingly common for countries to invade their neighbors or countries close to them or even far away from them with military force in order to enact their economic agenda. And that's worrying, whether it's Russia doing it to Ukraine or America doing it to Venezuela or Israel doing it to Gaza, Syria, and Iran. Not all cultures are compatible without assimilating, considering we have war Muslims illegally migrating to the EU and stoning women in their own country for not following their culture. I don't agree with this shit. I think that like the statistics just show that when you allow Muslim people to immigrate to more westernized kind of progressive countries, they progressivize over time. Yeah, maybe the first generation folks that come over are not going to be super liberal, but like that's the fucking thing is like the thing that gets me is that you guys don't even like when they like you guys don't want them to liberalize. You guys don't want them to actually assimilate because like or maybe some of you guys do, but it's a complicated topic because the fact of it is a lot of these people come over here very fucking conservative, but it's a variety of conservatism that American conservatives find distasteful. And so they want them to change, aka assimilate. But the funny thing is, when their kids or their grandkids who are fully assimilated turn out to be super progressive and vote for lefties and shit like that and make leftist arguments, then suddenly they hate them and they're horrible and wrong for America. So really like I kind of get a little bit triggered whenever somebody says something about assimilation because when people say assimilation, what I hear is adopt an American conservative 50s style identity and we'll accept you. Live as close to you can as that to that fucking 1950s ideal of American fucking leave it to beaver perfection and we'll accept you. But live outside of that and we're going to either call you some unassimilated savage or some horrible ungrateful towelhead or whatever. So we can liberate Venezuela, but there's no money to liberate impoverished Americans living in the USA. Got it. Oh, well, there's infinite money to, like those $4,000 an hour to operate Chinooks. Yeah, we can operate 8 of those flying around Caracas airspace for 4 hours at a rate of like fucking $100,000 just for the fuel costs for all those planes and all that time. Sure, we can afford it. We can afford the millions of dollars in salaries and pay that was paid to various soldiers and officers and logistics people involved in that operation. Sure. Sure, we can afford the combat bonus for all those active duty folks that were uh, involved in it and everything. By the way, I'm not saying that you shouldn't get a combat bonus, which I do think they do that, right? Pretty sure they do that. Um, I'm not saying that they don't deserve it. I'm just saying that it sucks we have all this money to pay for military action, but not a dime to pay for homeless people. Not a dime to pay for a rigid social safety net that would bring universal health care to every American. Not a dime for a universal food stipend that would end the waste, fraud, and abuse in EBT by completely eliminating the income motivations for EBT. Everybody gets it. It's based on your cost of living. It's enough for you and your family if you've got some dependents to eat. And that's it. It's enough for you to eat some good, healthy food. It's not, some insane amount that's going to let you eat fucking steak and lobster every night. Sure. But it's enough for you to eat and have a reasonable level of comfort and a little bit of luxury every so often with your diet. And nobody gets any more or any less than anybody else unless you live in a different area. It's just based on your cost of living. We don't want to spend that money on a universal basic income, which would free people from the worry of their job just being replaced one day by AI or robotics in general. There are humanoid robots right now that will be stacking packages in Walmart within my lifetime. Probably before I'm middle age. Crystal Ball said there was at least 80 killed in Venezuela. I haven't personally seen the sources, but believe it. I read 40. I haven't read it yet. That's fucking crazy, though. Wouldn't surprise me. Like the stream. It is free, folks. Yes, it is. 80 so far. Let's watch that number climb in the coming year. Yeah. Watch that number climb in the coming year and watch it climb from fucking incidental causes, too. You know, things related to the conflict, but not directly. It's just garbage. But yeah, like the stream. By the way, we only made $2 in Super Chat. I need to fucking... Okay, well, anyway. I need to, starting tomorrow, set some new goals for this upcoming weekend. It's not free, but your comment will get read. Yeah, I mean, that is the benefit you get from it, you know? No, I don't know. I understand why people don't super chat when I don't have a content goal running or I'm not like plugging it very often or whatever. I understand that it's not that worthy a thing, you know? Just to get your comment read, you know? When the chat's going by a lot and things are super busy, it kind of makes more sense, but sometimes, you know, that's just the way it is. Shit. Do you ever watch streamers on the right? I used to. I used to check in with them more often than I do now. Pretty much the only time I see what a streamer on the right is doing these days is I'll catch it on Reddit sometimes being reposted somewhere. And I guess I'll watch, probably more what I consume more than that is lefties having arguments with right-wing content creators and shit like that. I'll watch those pretty often. But as far as like, you know, active right-wing content creators and shit, I don't really keep up on them much anymore. I feel like I get a pretty good impression about what's going on in the conservative media by looking at the comment section of certain shorts and looking at the I feel like you can get like looking at Twitter, looking at I don't use Instagram, but um, you know, when you ride around your neighborhood, you can kind of see like the type of signs people have out in their yard. You can kind of see the types of flags that they're flying or the kind of vibe of a place, and you can use that as one small study group. Obviously, you have to for factors that change, you know. Honestly, a cooking stream would be awesome. Cooking stream, $100 to do a cooking stream. I don't. Oh my god. Man, I want that $100 so bad, but I don't think I could. I don't think I have any way to do a cooking stream. Actually, do I? Oh man, that's a really ambitious project to throw at me randomly. Oh shit. Well, the kitchen inside kind of looks like shit, but my grill, well, my family's grill, does have a burner on it. Hmm. Oh, look at that. A gift membership. Thank you, Autumn. You're so kind. I don't know what to say in a super chat, LOL, but this stream has been awesome. Well, thank you, Duke Shoot. I like that name, by the way. Luke Duke. That's nice. You've been an awesome participant in chat, so good to have you here. That smells weird. I don't guess anything's on fire, though, so I guess it must be fine. Well, anyway, now I'm sitting here thinking about the practicality of it. Like, what would I even make? What would I even make? What would I even make, dude? Sorry, I'm standing here deep in thought. Thank you for the gift membership, and thank you for the fucking super chat. Cooking while debating with randoms would be funny as hell, I imagine. I think it would be cool, dude. I think it would be so fucking awesome, dude. Something Southern says. Fuck. I could make ribs. I'd have to go buy ribs. But I think if I started that, if I got a small enough thing of ribs, I could do a thing of baked beans in a smoker. My baked beans is good, y'all. I think y'all like my baked beans quite a bit. So what I normally do if I'm going to make ribs is I'll do ribs, baked beans, and then there's a couple of directions you can go after that. But I'm thinking that I haven't done hush puppies in a while, so there's that. I could, in theory, do that. Let me just think here. Hold on. Well, I would either do hush puppies or cornbread. I would not do both because that would just be too much bread. Well, my hush puppies are basically cornbread hush puppies. They're the only difference between them is they're shaved onions in mine, which is I guess kind of a southern thing apparently. Let's see here. It's 405. Shit. How serious is you, playa? make that goal. That would be a good goal to set. That would be a good goal to set. The hoods in the 405 are so ghetto. Do what? I see what you guys are saying. Okay. So I see what you're saying, Kenny. All right. So yeah, set like a goal to do a cooking stream. Yeah. And what if I made it? Oh man. Oh, dude. Hmm. I'm thinking, man. I'm thinking. Yeah, this might be a good goal to set actually. It might not be a bad idea at all. Well, anyway, I think for now though, I'm gonna go ahead and go. I have one last bowl of actual pot I can smoke, and then I'm done until I can get more. And I think I shall smoke that bowl in peace. I mean, I've still got some stems that I'll be smoking on, and then I've got resin in the pipe, but you know. Lasted me since New Year's Eve, though, so that's good. Like, I think it was like a quarter, you know? And it lasted me fucking like 5 days or some shit, which is good, I think. That's basically around what I want to be at. Maybe a little bit. You know, I'd like to do a little bit less in a day, I would probably say. But, you know, I'm just sitting here fucking literally just fucking letting my inner thoughts spill out into my outer monologue. Why am I sharing this with you guys? Mine is to just Scotch eggs. I substitute spicy ground sausage for the blood pudding if someone isn't into blood pudding. What? Gross. Scotch eggs? I don't know, man. Give me a recipe list. I would totally cook with you. Then we kidnap TJ and make him cook too. Dude, that would be funny. That would be funny. That would be a good piece of collaborative work, actually. I wonder if TJ would do it. I wonder if he would do it if there was a public pressure campaign. Okay, so I do a stream where I'm like cooking like these southern delicacies, right? And then I put out the message throughout the stream like, "Hey, we're going to challenge TJ to do the same thing, okay?" And we get a few people from the audience that are cooking too, and I can like bring them in somehow. That'd be like a streamer potluck. Maybe that's what it should be called. Fucking reinvigorate the spirit of collaboration on YouTube, god damn it. I'll make that video response that I'm doing to Vosh, and then I'll you know, like a month later, make a food challenge to him. Or maybe I'll include him in the food challenge. Be like, you guys got to get this out to as many people as you can, because eventually we're going to convince every lefty content creator on YouTube to make a cooking video. No, I don't know. I think it would be funny though. I think it would be cool. We know for a fact TJ can cook. I use his red beans and rice recipe because it's a very authentic recipe and very true to fucking life and everything, and I love it. And I modify it a little bit because he literally recommends that you do. Chaos wizard that they are. So I change it around a little bit, but we know that TJ can cook. But what about Paul? I mean, Paul has represented his cooking skills differently depending on whether or not he is single or with someone. When Paul is single, he has made out like when Paul and Ashley weren't together, but he wasn't with Amelia yet, he kind of made out like he was pretty good at cooking, at least at cooking some things. And I feel like since he got back with, or not back with, but since he got with Amelia, he's been back to kind of being like, nah, I can cook a few things. I can like barbecue the hell out of some meat, but anything else, no, not really. Which I think probably Paul is actually like a pretty competent cook in general, but I think I've heard Paul talk about Amelia's food, and I've heard Amelia talk about her food, and I think Amelia is just such an amazing home cook that it kind of makes him feel like he's just piddling around by comparison. And so he's like, yeah, I got this one thing I'm good at. But, you know, I don't know. We would never know. We'll never know unless we get that Paul cooking video. Paul claims he can make a dope ass hamburger. I think he's described a burger, and he has described a passable burger, but he ain't described no delicious some bitch, like something you'd come back for party after party. Like I feel like based on the type of burger that Paul has described, I would come back for like 2 Paul burgers. I would, and then I'd move on to the hot dogs. And that'd be my pattern at the party. Get a couple of Paul burgers. They're gonna be little, probably on the smaller side. I don't know why. He just gives me that vibe. Paul gives me the vibe of somebody that doesn't pat his patties out wide enough and thin enough so that they shrink up the right way. And I bet you get, I'm not saying it's overcooked. I'm not saying they're burnt. I'm not saying he gives you a briquette. But I get the vibe from Paul that you get a burger on a smaller side. Rather eat cape. Yeah, me too. Me too, cousin. Anyway, I guess I'm going to get out of here. Thank you guys for hanging out with me. Thank y'all for super chatting, as always. And keep your eyes peeled for what happens in Venezuela, because, things could get interesting. I will see you guys around. Make sure you engage with the channel. Peace out. Bye.